Alright, what's up you guys? Kensu here. So, I'm sure you guys saw the title of this video and probably felt some kind of way and might be coming in here with your pitchforks, but I'll encourage you to put your pitchforks down and just hear what I have to say. I want you guys to know that everything I'm going to say in this video all comes from a place of love for this game, and not to mention a love for Arcsys in general. So with that being said, let me just jump right into it. So Marvel Tokon has hit the scene with a new beta. This is the second beta, and I do have words for it. Essentially, I kind of want to open with quite a few things here. So they let us play Spider-Man, let us play Ghost Rider, let us try all that stuff out, which is cool. But did they cook this time? You know, did they really do the thing, right? That's essentially what this video is about. And I do have a lot of words, so definitely buckle up. I want to put this out here really quickly. First and foremost, so some of you guys may know or not know, I was selected amongst many other people like Maximilian, Justin Wong, and a few others to playtest the game behind closed doors at EVO. You know, and big ups to Marvel, Arcsys, and Sony for allowing me for that opportunity, because I think that was something that was great for my career here as a YouTuber, career as a content creator. You know, it just meant a lot to me, especially knowing that, like, you know, Pachi is one of the developers for the game. Some of you guys have seen me say countless times on my channel, me and Pachi were actually friends, we go way back, etc, trying all the way back to Guilty Gear days, you know what I mean? And it's really cool for me in particular to see Pachi right now in the position that he's in. Watching him go from player to developer has been great for me. So as a friend, I'm happy to see his progress so far as a game developer, right? I also want to say quick thanks to all you guys for supporting me all this time to even get that opportunity, because if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't even been there in the first place, right? So thank you guys for that too, right? So with that being said, being there at EVO in particular, what better place to give them feedback than to straight directly to them and let them know how I feel about the game, because I'm sure that was something that they were looking for. It wasn't just, hey, are you happy alone with this? You know, is there anything we could do? You know, I'm sure it's not just one of those things, you know, where it's just like, hey, thanks for playing, you know, leave. You know, it felt definitely a lot like, hey, you know, give us our thoughts. And that's what I did alongside Maximilian and people who are all there, right? Now, we had two betas. We're on beta 2 now. And I think here's where some of the trepidation comes in, because I don't want to sit here and say it's not like they're not listening. That's not so much the case, because they readjust the thing with the tag. How far along that helps the game? Not very much in my opinion. I do feel like it kind of just makes the game a little bit more convoluted, but more on that later. For what it's worth, if you guys watch my initial impression, I was just blown away. I couldn't stop talking about it, you know what I mean, for a good while. So where I stand on the game is very, very positively. You know, I stand very, very positive about the game. I really like the game a lot. On top of all of this, right, I also made a tweet which might have seemed vague towards a lot of people. They're just like, well, what are you saying? You're saying the game sucks. Did you just get beat up and just feel upset because you lost? It's like, it had nothing to do with me losing any games. For the record, I didn't lose any games, and it made me have a different opinion, because you play and you lose. It's just a part of gaming. But that had zero to do with like how I felt about the game. You know, in my tweet, I explicitly state, like, I really like the way Spider-Man is, and I think a lot more characters should be like Spider-Man, you know? So it's like, I guess, you know? But, you know, with that being said, you know, I know that tweet might have ruffled some feathers, so it's kind of like, so with all that, like, where does that leave me now? You know? So my cause for concern are things that I've already, like, stated, you know? So kind of pushing into that, it starts with like the gameplay and like movement, right? Like off the bat, I've always enjoyed this game's gameplay, right? Like I got that feeling of Guilty Gear Xrd and its movement. And if you guys know anything about me, you know, I freaking love that game, you know? And the movement feels that way because Pachi's involved. So it's like, okay, cool. Like I can feel that, right? Combos, I think, are a little stale. Now, my thoughts of this will probably change as we get training mode. I know there are some people that are gonna watch and be like, dude, what do you mean? These characters have sauce and blah blah blah. Like there are combos. It isn't to say that you cannot land a combo on your opponent. When I say this, I mean combo expression. And I'm gonna get more into combo expression in a second, but just at the moment, at a glance, the combos and its general game flow or its general formula across the board feel a little weird. some of the solo variations, while they are centric towards each character and they do seem good and unique for each character, it's just where the assists come into play is where I'm kind of like, I'm not a big fan of. And that's kind of where it goes into the next part. With going into this next portion of this video, I want you guys to know I'm not asking for Marvel vs. Capcom 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, or Dragon Ball Fighter 62, or insert previous tag fighter that exists when I'm gonna say what I'm saying next. I want Tokon to stand out on its own, and it already does. But again, note that there are some conflicting portions of this. And I don't think that's asking for much. Now, where the combos get a little wonky is the assist, which is the biggest crux of my trepidation of this entire game, right? This one in particular is this is big on my priority list personally. The assist system to me is hindering this game very drastically. And you're probably thinking, but Mr. YouTuber guy, how is this hindering the game? I don't really understand you, dude. Like the assists, like they work. Well, yes and no. Let's take it back to like the tagline of the game, right? And let's just and keep being, and let's be real with this, right? Which is assemble your team. This is what they were pushing, right? This is a team game with 1v1 aspects, right? This was really emphasized at EVO when I was speaking with them. It was really emphasized across the advertising board for this game, right? So with this in mind, let's kind of break the game down and you'll start to understand my trepidations, right? In Tokon, you have two major ways to get your assist, right? One, you hit your opponent through a stage transition, be it a throw, super, or a transition move. You'll get the next slot active for your assist, right? And then two, if you lose a round. If you lose a round, you're gonna gain an assist for that slot. So if you're getting cooked up and you lost 2 rounds straight, you'll have both your last assist characters, your second and last assist character to help you play the rest of the game and try to make a comeback in that fashion. Pretty straightforward. Cool. Now, both of these aspects work well for the game, as far as I'm concerned. Where it gets muddy to me is the assist in both pressure and in combos. So after you earn your assists in their respective slots, this is where the game is supposed to open up. However, it doesn't feel that way. Also, just to note really quickly, you also gain more HP for gathering your full team. So your health bar is extended essentially despite its visual look, right? You get more tankier, if you will, right? So you can take more damage. Now, in neutral, calling your assist is kind of sort of the way they want you to use it, it seems, right? Calling your assist in neutral is totally okay. You can do your forward, down, and back assists and you're good to go. But I think for combos, this just isn't good, right? I don't think this is good at all. And why I don't feel this is good for combos or even block pressure is because your assist now turns into a lariat assist or a dash attack assist, which I've stated many times about this game that, like, I think that's where this falters. Like, it feels unintuitive to fight so hard against an opponent to gain the assist to make my character or my team stronger, but I can't use it in pressure or in combos. It's a canned assist, which to me just doesn't feel right. I get it. Maybe for some it's like, well, the streamline process isn't bad, streamer guy or YouTuber dude. Like, what's the problem? I don't get it. It's an assist in a combo. Yeah, it's a single hit. It's a single strike that extends it re-extends the combo gauge. I understand that. However, you can still keep this combo gauge schema into the game while allowing the player to utilize the assist. Otherwise, I'd have to ask myself, what was the purpose of me working so hard against such a good opponent, a very difficult opponent at that, to not be able to use the assist in more creative ways than one? In neutral, it's not, there's only so many creative ways you can use it in neutral. A lot of the creativity when it comes to a tag fighter tends to be where you use your assist in combos and in pressure, and that's stripped away from the player in this game. Additionally, not only is it stripped away from the player, but you also cannot you can't utilize your special moves and call your assist at the same time either, which means you have to call it either before or after the special move is done, give or take. That part just doesn't sit well with me. that doesn't mean that the rest of the game is bad. It's just this aspect of the game, which is at its core, does not resonate with me. And I'm not the only player or content creator who said this. There's also casual people who have said this, and I don't want to use casual in a negative sense or a negative connotation, but there are players who are non-competitive, for that matter, to be more, politically correct, that would like to play the game but also can recognize that this part of the game can get really stale real fast. And part of the game is to build into your team and make a badass team. I have no qualms with the opening gambit of the game being whatever you want it to be. Some characters are better on point than others. Dr. Doom, in my honest opinion, is not a great point character. In fact, you should build into Doom and then be able to play him. With that being said, it just doesn't sit well. And I do want to point out some other quick things about like the assists. You worked hard to get Doom assists for the tracking beam, doesn't matter. You call them out, you get the rush attack, right? Even with the idea of being able to swap characters, right? You also gain new assists, right? And if we do the math, right? 4 characters, including your point, which doesn't do an assist, but if you can rotate them. So essentially 4 characters, 4 assists per characters, including your point character, and you get like, what was that, 4, 8, 12, 16? You get 16 assists. I chose not to include the air assists because they just don't feel very relevant to me personally, but if you want to add them in, then that'd be 20 assists total that can be utilized in any one game, right? If you're constantly rotating characters using your aerial assists, etc., of course. Now mind you, the air assists are all projectile based, so they don't really do anything other than that. You don't get a dash attack. It's just specifically your aerial projectile, which I do believe also the air assists don't really hold any weight either, because it doesn't feel good to call an aerial assist for any real reason. Maybe it could work well for the air combos, but at the moment it doesn't really feel that way either. So it again, maybe I could feel indifferent about this with actual training mode, because this is the first time in a beta where I would honestly say I think this game needed a training mode. I think the game's system is a bit much for a lot of people while also trying to be restrictive. So it's in a ways, the game's fighting itself, and it's being a bit contradictory towards it being both a easy to pick up, hard to master game, but also being somewhat convoluted at the same time with the system mechanics. Now, I mentioned all this about the assist, and so it's like, well, all right. So what's the alternative? Just let players use the assist. If you wanted to keep the dash attack or lariat style assist, then it should just only be for the first one. Or if you press neutral and assist, no directional and an assist, then you will get your secondary character, the one that does the projectile. That will be the one to do the dash attack. Meanwhile, the down and the back assist can be the ones you worked for. Because otherwise it's just going to be use your unique assist or use your gained assist in neutral to try to get in and then do what you got to do. But then the pressure in itself just doesn't feel very good. It's just going to be pretty samey without any variance. Not to mention when they do the assist, it is a green flash that's like, hey, pay attention, they might mix you up. And there's a lot of tells in the game that just don't feel right. But I'm not going to harp on assist any further. You can kind of get the general gist of where I'm going with this. And I'm trying not to make this very long and wordy, but I just want to make sure you guys understand the context of where I'm coming from, because this is not just a simple, I don't like this. This is coming from playing the game a lot over the past 2 betas and throughout the entirety of Evo. I have a lot of playtime on this game. Not to mention, I do want to bring up the auto combos. The auto combos, I think, are doing a bit more harm than good, and it's primarily because the auto combos tracking is really crazy, and how far they travel, right? When you go light, the distance in which it travels is far. And at that stage in the game, I feel like that's kind of I think it's a bit much. I think the person hitting the auto combo is getting more reward than they need, and it seems to function very similar to Dragon Ball, where the second hit, when it connects, that one counts as a medium starter, which, if you know anything about Dragon Ball, medium starters are the strongest things in the game in terms of combo potential starting out. So in a lot of cases, it feels like the best thing to do in a lot of areas is to mash the auto combo from approach to potentially anti-airing. I mean, obviously you could 2H the anti-air, obviously, right? But like to some degree, some of the auto combos do hit kind of high up, and that part just doesn't feel good. Additionally, from the auto combo mash, you also have it from situations such as on wake up, which leads to more things here. I think the wake up game could probably use a little bit from 2x KO. I think they could take a page from 2x KO because it gets too scrambly. It gets way too scrambly when just knocking someone down without a hard knockdown or a wall splat, because the game lacks hard knockdowns unless you're near the corner, as far as I know. Like, it feels bad doing a combo into Spider-Man Super just to watch them recover before Spider-Man does, roll out the corner, and then start pressuring Spider-Man. And I'm telling you this from experience, from playing it myself. Like, I have legit footage of me doing combos while the most basic into his regular Super, and then it's like they tech roll away and Spider-Man's still in recovery and they get to start pressure. That doesn't feel good. Now, you'd argue, well, Kensou, it's a beta, you know, they can change things. I think that's another point of contention that I have, is that, like, in giving feedback, not just myself, but other creators and other people who have been playing the betas currently, like, I don't want this to fall on deaf ears. It means a lot to me that this product does well. And I'm fully supporting it. I'm backing it with everything I can. You know, for me making this video showing you cause for concern. It means a lot to me because as someone that's been enjoying Arcsys games for years, right, I don't want to see them fail at this. I get it, they're not paying me to make this video. This is just me as a fan wanting to see one of my favorite gaming companies succeed. Not to mention, as I mentioned before, Pachi is a friend of mine. I also want to see him succeed. I know there's a lot of pressure on them to perform with this title, so I think it's very important that they take the feedback of many people, not just me. Just because I was there at the start with them at Evo doesn't mean that your voice does not matter. I want you to know that, right? Just because you're watching, so Mr. YouTuber guys, just you know, the feedback forms are there. Like, I encourage you and I implore you to go fill out those forms because it matters. What other issues do I have? I also see the stage as also being an issue, because if you think about competitive stage, most people for competitive are just going to play the X Mansion because there's walls. There is a beginning and an end to the stage. I think Savage Land is probably one of the harder ones to want to go to bat for, because I can tell you with straight face, I have gone through that wall with players so many times throughout this weekend, and I just think that it's a bit much. I think two transitions, or a transition on each side, I think is enough. I think Savage Land having the most transitions, I feel like it's kind of cool at one front because it's like turning a comic book page to get to the next part of the, you know, the story. But I think the issue is it loses its novelty after a while when each player is getting thrown through it every 2 seconds. Additionally, neither player gains any advantage, making the stage transition not, it's meaningful only in the sense that you get your assist, but it's not meaningful after the hit. So each player gets to reset back to neutral, so it just feels like the entirety of the game is like we're just going back to neutral after every interaction. You landed a hit, back to neutral, landed a hit, back to neutral. We're not really going to push Oki into this game, or knockdown games. We're not going to really push that in this game. We really want players to have more interactions. But again, it goes back to the tech roll system. The tech roll system can be very scrambly because of the iframes attached to your tech roll. So you'd be like, well, I mean, Mr. YouTuber guy, like, well, what's wrong with that? That means after a certain point, you won't have control over the match. I understand the notion of like, well, no one wants to get dominated. I feel you. But I think that's part of fighting games. When you knock someone down, you're supposed to have an advantage. It's okay if it's not a guaranteed advantage and they have the ability to slip away. That isn't an issue as far as I'm concerned. However, to take away, you have to take away the scramble portions, which lead me back into the assist, which if you didn't burn all of your assists in your first combo before the Oki scenario, then you might have an assist that you can save for the knockdown game. I could see that being a prevalent part of the game at some point, but you're also putting yourself in a lot of ways at risk because you can't call them during what you're doing. It has to be after the fact, which means it's delayed, which means you're giving your opponent more chances to mash you out. So you both end up being in a situation where you're trying to scramble or control the knockdown game. And I think the only way to truly control it in general is to be at the wall. Not a transition wall, but as a wall that, like a hard wall, like on X Mansion, or at the end of, or at the edge of every stage. So it leads me to believe that from a competitive standpoint, if players are allowed to pick stages, then it's always going to be X Mansion. And I'm sure there'll probably be other stages that are probably like, you know, like the X Mansion where there's walls. But the tournament ruling would probably end up having to be random select. Or who knows, it could get into Smash Brothers territory with picks and bans on stages where it's like, let's just face facts. Everyone's just going to play on X Mansion. Like there's a wall, no stage transitions to worry about. You can set up mix-ups and Oki over there. No one's gonna really bat an eye to say that, well, we're just gonna always pick X Mansion. There's no way. You're gonna pick it every single time. It doesn't make sense to not pick it, to be honest with you. From a competitive, and even if you're to play net play, like why would you not want to pick X Mansion and support your ability to do all the crazy mix-ups that you've been working on? It doesn't make sense. So I think that's another point of contention that they have to consider, because maybe some people aren't considering tournament like I am, but there's just a lot to think about. Even from the standpoint of like another gameplay perspective is, I think from a pressure scenario, this game is very strike throw heavy and not really that much on, at the moment as far as I can tell, not really big on the sandwich pressure department, because not very many, because of how the way assist works, you're not really allowed to the player's not allowed to get the assist character to side swap, right? They're not going to dash through them and then create a mix-up sandwich scenario. They're not going to do that. They're just going to do their rush punch move and then stop right in front of them. And when you active switch, you have this lovely line that just the, you know, what's her name in Zelda? Navi, the fairy. You're gonna watch Navi go through this guy, and then here, watch this thing here, and then we go into this character. Now get ready to block or get ready to defend. And there's, for that, it just feels like there's too many tells. It kind of loses the magic of like the team game aspect. I get like, hey, this is the soul of this character going into the soul of this character. That part's kind of cool, I suppose, and from a visual perspective. However, from a gameplay perspective, it's like it's a big tell. It's a prepare yourself type thing, you know. And take it or leave it. That's just kind of how it is right now. It's just difficult, I suppose, to see it any other way for me, because I'm definitely concerned about the competitive side and even the casual side from a just fundamental standpoint. Just, you guys can't blame me for having concern for the game. I really like it a lot, like a lot. I like it. Like I like it so much. But like at the moment it might be hard to love it because of these aspects. Where this involves my playtime was also mostly just Spider-Man. I didn't really play anyone else. Like Spider-Man felt like exactly what I wanted to play in this game. He does have a lot of risk reward attached to him. It does feel a little weird that he can't use the assist with web zip. Like it goes back to what I said about the assist. Like Spider-Man covering himself with his assist, you have to call the assist first, then try to web zip, which is both good and bad. Considering that the web zip itself has delay, being able to call the assist with the delay that it already has on it is kind of like, well, why not? Why is it that I can't use my unique attack with my assist? Why do I have to wait for my assist first, or wait for it, or do it second? You see what I mean? Like these things just feel weird, and it's just like, I'm sorry, I know I'm rambling here, and I apologize for this yap, but it just really rubs me the wrong way, and I really want this game to shine. Like, again, I'm not looking for this game to be MVC 5 or the next Marvel Infinite or the next Dragon Ball FighterZ. It's just, there's a lot of core elements of tag fighters that already exist in this game and that are already pre-existing in other games, and it just feels a little weird to not utilize this portion of the game. It just doesn't feel right. I just want them to open this part of the game up. I'm okay with literally just about everything else. I think the combo structure and the combo freedom will eventually change. If the assist portion is opened up, then we'll see it. Otherwise, we'll probably just be in a situation where the combos are going to be pretty canned, and the biggest worry I have is this right here. If there's anything you take away from this video, is this. I don't want this game to be an open game by season 3. I want this game to be an open game from the start. Because from that point, it's just adding characters into the system and maybe making some system tweaks to kind of make the game better and more fresh and unique. And I think with a game like this, its foundation's already there. Just to me, it's like, don't be afraid to just go crazy. Because to me, I think it just feels bad to know that I'm going to have to wait for season 3 for this game to be what it could be. Not so much what I want it to be, what it could be. Because this happened in Dragon Ball FighterZ, where season 3, oh, we finally decided to give you 3 assists for each character. And it's like, well, you could have did this from the start. Well, we didn't want to do that because we want to introduce this. It's not a new mechanic. I could understand if they were introducing a new mechanic. And right now, the new mechanic is the 4-on-4 while using only one character, or rotating characters with the same life bar. This part is unique in itself, but the assist portion doesn't need to be anything more than it already is. It doesn't. You don't need to reinvent the wheel, is my point. Like, it's already a system that works in place. But if I'm seeing people who are not hardcore players expressing an interest into why they cannot use the assist the way they want to, I think that's a bit concerning. And I think the developers should be concerned about this. So, will this game do well? It will. I 100% believe this game's gonna do well. But I also want to make sure that I'm doing my part as not just a content creator, but also a consumer, to let them know that while you're on the right track with this product and project, I feel like I know that this is going to happen. And I would like to avoid that, not necessarily for me, but for the people at large. It's like, why is this so difficult? Maybe it's the powers that be, maybe it's people above, maybe it's Sony doesn't want it to be as crazy. This might get longer and I apologize, you guys, but I just feel like it feels to me like there's a lot of, like, they're just scared about the onboarding for newer players. Because truth be told, a game for everyone could also be a game for no one, you know? And that sounds harsh, and I don't think that's the case here, but like, you can only do so much in terms of catering to an audience. I feel like they already have the Marvel people, and I don't mean Marvel versus Capcom, I mean people who enjoy the Marvel IP, the Marvel franchise as a whole. They're already here. Just make the game crazy. Like, don't hesitate. Most people know Arcsys for being creative and going kind of nuts with their games, with the older Guilty Gear titles, for example, Blaze Blue. Strive, maybe not so much, but they did take some creative liberties in some areas to make the game a little bit crazy. But like, for this one, it just feels real safe. And I know there's a lot of pressure riding on them, but I think they can alleviate that pressure just by giving players the ability to just use the assist the way that they want. You can alleviate that right now just by doing it. And for the love of God, remove the air assist, because jumping and using the air assist when you meant to do the grounded one just feels bad. So I guess without going too much further, like I said, I could say so much more, but I understand in the interest of you guys' time, listening to me yap isn't where you want to spend the majority of your day. So I'll end it here with this and just say that, like, this game is fire as hell. I enjoy it to no end. And I hope that they're willing to open up the combo system and assist system, because I think this game needs it. I really do. And I think we'll end up getting a better product in the end if they do that. If for whatever reason they don't do that, I'll be the first to let me just say this too, right? If they choose to not go this route that myself, other content creators like Max, whoever are speaking on, that's fine. I want you to know, it's totally fine. Will that stop me from playing it? No. Will I feel some kind of way about it? Yes, because I would feel as a consumer, I'm gonna watch history repeat itself by season 3, and I would return to this video watching everyone get excited. I'm like, dude, this should not be, you know? But I will still support it. I don't have any intention to not support the game. I will be here to support it and play it and make content for you guys. That's not gonna change. It's just in this immediate time, I care so much that I don't want to see any kind of major fall off for the game on launch. I think if people have a bit of a fall off when showing cause for concern during a beta is fine, because you can just try it out and kind of let the developers know what the issues are. I think that's okay. But like, I wouldn't want to see this game is boring 1 month after launch. You know what I mean? Like, because that's already a sentiment happening in streams today, right? Throughout the course of the weekend, I've definitely seen a lot of people saying that. Yeah, I'm just hoping that they can just get it right. I love this game a lot. It is a dream come true to see Arcsys work with Marvel for me, you know? So of course, naturally, I'm gonna be here and try my best at the game, be it for whatever, right? Be it competitive, content, whatever, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna be here trying to showcase why this game is sick and just make this game look cool as all can be for you guys. I was gonna say cool AF, but I really want this game to, I really want you guys to recognize like what makes this game cool, you know? So just know that like we're on the same side. Don't think this is a I'm here to hate on it and yada yada yada. I'm here with y'all. I just think that we have to voice our concerns and opinions for these titles and these projects, because I'm still a consumer at the end of the day, just like you guys are. I think that they should be able to take the constructive criticisms and decide where to go from there. I hope that what I'm saying aligns with not just them, but you guys, because you guys do mean a lot to me in terms of the support for the game too, right? Because just again, I'm a fan just like y'all. So let's hope that they make the best game that they can, and let's just support it to the best of our ability, because more fighting games to play, the better, right? So with that being said, I've yapped a lot. I apologize. I just had to be completely open and honest and try to say it to the best of my ability, because I just got to talk I have to talk it how I feel, you know? So let me know how you guys feel about this, about what I'm saying in the comments below. Talk to me. How are you feeling about it? Did you enjoy the beta? Are there things that you're looking forward to? Do you have any cause for concern? And if so, like let's start a conversation and try to get this to be the best game on launch it can be. But yeah, talk to me, let me know, and I'm gonna get up out of here. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.